I was tricked into dating a girl with facial burns. She said, "Is appearance really that important?" I still remember the exact moment my stomach dropped. I was standing outside a quiet cafe on a rainy Thursday evening, staring at my phone, realizing I had been lied to. The pictures I had seen weren't real. The girl I had agreed to meet looked nothing like the filtered images my friend had shown me. Instead, as she slowly stood up from the corner table and walked toward me, I saw the scars first. Deep, uneven, pale pink and silver scars stretching across the left side of her face, curling around her jaw and disappearing beneath her hairline. My first instinct wasn't kindness. It wasn't curiosity. It was shock, and I hated myself for it. Before we begin, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in looking beyond appearances, take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this deserve to be told, and your support keeps them alive. The truth is, I hadn't even wanted to go on that date. My best friend Samir had practically forced me. He told me I needed to get back out there after my last breakup. He showed me photos of his cousin's friend, Aisha, and she looked like someone who belonged on magazine covers. Perfect skin, perfect smile, perfect lighting. I rolled my eyes at first, but something about her soft expression made me agree. I thought it would be harmless. A simple dinner. When I walked into the cafe and spotted her sitting there, I felt tricked. Same brown eyes, same gentle smile, but no flawless skin, no polished image, just reality. And reality had scars. She must have seen it on my face, the hesitation, the flicker of disappointment I tried to bury. Her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted her scarf. The cafe lights weren't kind. They illuminated every ridge and curve of her burns. I sat down anyway. I told myself I wasn't shallow. I told myself I was better than that. But inside, I was fighting the urge to text Samir and demand an explanation. The first few minutes were painfully awkward. I struggled to focus on her words. My mind kept circling around one question: why didn't anyone tell me? It felt like a setup. Like some kind of social experiment. Then she said something that cut through my frustration. She asked me calmly if appearance was really that important. Not in an angry tone. Not defensive. Just curious. As if she genuinely wanted to know. I didn't answer immediately. Because I didn't know how to answer without exposing myself. Before that night, I would have confidently said no. I would have claimed that personality mattered more. That character was everything. But sitting across from her, confronted with my own discomfort, I realized how much I had taken beauty for granted. How easily I judged without meaning to. She began telling me her story. 3 years earlier, a gas explosion in her family's kitchen had changed everything. One moment she was a university student with dreams of becoming an architect. The next, she was waking up in a hospital bed, her face bandaged, doctors speaking in careful tones. She didn't describe the pain dramatically. She spoke about it the way someone talks about surviving a storm. Matter of fact, steady, but her eyes betrayed her. There was something behind them, something that had fought battles I couldn't imagine. She told me about the surgeries, the skin grafts, the endless hospital visits, the way strangers stared, the way friends slowly stopped calling, the fiancé who said he wasn't strong enough to handle it and walked away. That part made me shift in my seat. Because I suddenly saw myself in that category. Not as someone brave, but as someone weak. She admitted that when Samir suggested setting her up with me, she had hesitated. She knew he had shown me old pictures. She didn't ask him to. But she didn't stop him either. She said she wanted to see what would happen when someone met her reality instead of her past. I felt exposed. As if she could read every shallow thought I'd had in the first 5 minutes. The more she spoke, the more my discomfort began to transform. It wasn't attraction. Not yet. It was respect. A slow, unexpected respect. She talked about how she had to relearn confidence. How she forced herself to go outside without heavy makeup. How children sometimes asked blunt questions that adults were too polite to voice. She said the hardest part wasn't the pain. It was feeling invisible and hyper-visible at the same time. Ignored by some, stared at by others. I started noticing the details I had missed earlier. The way she held her shoulders straight, as if refusing to shrink. The warmth in her laugh. The intelligence in her thoughts about design and structure and rebuilding spaces. Somewhere between the appetizers and the main course, I stopped thinking about her scars. Not because they disappeared, but because they stopped being the headline. They became part of a larger story. Still, I won't lie. Part of me struggled. I worried about what people would think if they saw us together. I imagined introducing her to my parents. I imagined walking into a wedding with her on my arm. I hated that these thoughts even existed, but they did. When the date ended, I walked her to her car. The rain had stopped, leaving the streets glistening under streetlights. She thanked me for coming. She didn't ask for a second date. She didn't try to impress me. She simply smiled, a real smile, and drove away. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying her question. Was appearance really that important? I thought about my ex, whose beauty had once made me feel proud, like I had won something. I thought about how empty that relationship had felt by the end. I thought about how Aisha had spoken about resilience with a calm strength that I had never seen before. The next morning, I called Samir. I was angry at first. I accused him of tricking me. He didn't deny it. He said he knew I would never have agreed if I had seen her recent photos. He said he wanted me to meet her heart before I judged her face. That stung because it was true. For the next few days, I wrestled with myself. I told myself I didn't owe anyone anything. It was just a date. But something about the way she carried herself stayed with me. I realized that walking away would confirm every fear she had about people only caring about appearance. So I texted her. I asked if she would like to meet again. Our second meeting was different. I wasn't shocked anymore. I noticed the small details, the way her fingers traced patterns on the coffee cup when she was thinking. The way she tilted her head when she listened. I found myself genuinely interested in her stories. She told me about volunteering at a burn rehabilitation center, helping new patients adjust to their scars. She said she wanted to design buildings that were safer, with better emergency systems. She turned her tragedy into purpose. Weeks turned into months. We went on simple dates, walks in the park, bookstore visits, late-night tea stalls. Sometimes I caught strangers staring. At first, it made me tense. But she never seemed bothered. She had already survived worse than judgmental glances. The real turning point came one evening when a group of teenagers whispered loudly as we passed by. One of them laughed. I felt anger rise in my chest. I wanted to confront them. But she gently squeezed my hand and kept walking. Later, she told me that if she let every comment break her, she would never leave her house. Her strength humbled me. Slowly, my fear of what others thought began to shrink. I started seeing her not as the girl with burns, but simply as Aisha. The woman who loved old architecture. The woman who cried during animal rescue videos. The woman who believed people could change if given a chance. One night, sitting under the city lights, she asked me again if appearance was important. This time, I answered honestly. I told her it had mattered to me more than I ever admitted. I told her I was ashamed of my first reaction. I told her she had forced me to confront a shallow part of myself I didn't know was so strong. She didn't look angry. She looked relieved, as if honesty was more valuable than perfection. Falling in love with her wasn't dramatic. It was gradual. It was built on conversations, on shared silences, on mutual growth. I began to admire the story her scars told, not because scars are beautiful in a conventional way, but because survival is. The day I introduced her to my parents, I was nervous. I won't pretend otherwise. But when my mother hugged her warmly and my father listened to her career plans with genuine interest, something inside me settled. The world didn't end. The sky didn't fall. I realized the only real barrier had been inside me. A year after that first awkward date, I took her back to the same cafe. The same corner table. The same warm lights. But this time, when she walked toward me, I didn't see scars first. I saw the woman who had changed my definition of beauty. Before I tell you how that night ended, if this story has touched your heart in any way, please take a moment to like the video, comment your thoughts, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that real beauty goes deeper than skin. And please, I have a special request, comment the word, beyond, if you believe love should go beyond appearances. Your engagement helps stories like this reach more hearts. That evening, I told her that meeting her had been the most uncomfortable blessing of my life. I told her she had unknowingly held up a mirror to my character and challenged me to become better. I thanked her for giving me a second chance even when my first reaction didn't deserve it. Then I asked her to marry me. Tears filled her eyes, not because she needed validation, but because she understood what it meant. It wasn't just a proposal. It was proof that someone had seen her fully and stayed. When she said yes, I felt something I had never felt before. Not pride, not relief, but clarity. Her scars didn't disappear. They never will. But neither will the lesson she taught me. Appearance can catch your eye, but character captures your soul. And sometimes, the person you think you were tricked into meeting turns out to be the one who saves you from your own shallow thinking. If this story moved you, don't scroll away silently. Like, comment, and share it. Let's remind the world that kindness still matters, that second chances are powerful, and that love, real love, sees beyond the surface.